This is why you should invest in your mental health as an entrepreneur. So back in 2015, I was attending Clemson University for my master's program, and I actually found myself dealing with a lot of anxiety during the time centered around my health. And I'm normally a very healthy guy. I don't really get sick too often. So when I started to get these rashes, these headaches, and all these other things, I started to have fears that maybe I had cancer or some type of virus that the doctor never heard of, or one of the viruses that you come across on WebMD that says 5% of the world has it, and you think you're part of that 5%. So things were going crazy for me, and as a result, I wasn't able to do really well in my classes, or even enjoying my personal time with friends and family. My mind was so consumed that I actually started to almost like bottle up and be a cocoon. It was real tough for me, guys. Again, I never really go through any health situations. I'm normally a healthy guy, so it was tough for me. So, seeing all this stuff happening, seeing that I got my first C in grad school, I told myself, hey, I need to go see a therapist. And what actually made it so worse was that I was going to doctor at the doctor, ER room at the ER room, and I actually accumulated $1,000 hospital bill. Now, $1,000 is a lot, and I'd rather just go to free therapy sessions to solve that, wouldn't you? So that's what I did. I decided, let's just go talk to someone, try to figure this stuff out. And after about 5 sessions or so, I was able to see what my mind had the capabilities of doing. I was able to see that my mind had this ability to hook on to certain anxieties, almost like a dog on a bone, and it just wouldn't let go. And because I knew my mind could do that, I could actually sit back and just let it do it without being so consumed by it, lost in it, if you will. So by going to therapy that time, I was able to go through COVID, so the whole pandemic, and not be as rattled up as someone who may have not gone through therapy, but also has something like illness anxiety or some type of anxiety period. They would have not made it through COVID the way that I did. So seeing how that, right, seeing how my mental health affected, again, my schoolwork, my personal life, even my work, all that stuff, it showed me that this is very, very important. And I want you to know that too as you're listening. And now here's another thing too that I've always found interesting, and I may have said this on an earlier episode. If you ever go into a Barnes & Noble and you go to a business section, I want you to look to the left. If you look to the left, you're going to see right beside the business section is the self-help section. Now, why is that the case? Well, your mental health and who you are personally, so your personal development, it's going to influence how you run your business. And that shows me, and it should show you, just how intertwined these two things are. So if you're an entrepreneur, I need you to know that your mental health is very important, and I need you to invest in it. Because if you don't, you may see your business or maybe even your personal life start to suffer. And I know this because I see these guys every day in my therapy sessions. So with that being said, let's get into the first technique that's going to help you out with being able to improve your mental health. So with that being said, let's go over some of the reasons why you need to improve and work on your mental health. So first, there's a quote that I absolutely love, and it says, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And that goes to how we run our business. It is definitely tied to how we run our personal life. Because if in your personal life, everything is a mess, you don't have discipline, you have poor time management skills, how are you going to translate that into your business? How are you going to maintain a business that's making 6 or 7 figures if that is your goal? If you can't maintain your own house, your own personal life, right? Your calendar. It makes it very difficult. And again, that's why when you walk into a Barnes & Noble, you see the self-help section right beside the business section. Like, it's common sense. So I want you guys to know that, hey, the way that I do these small things, it is definitely a big thing. And as a result, I need to get a handle on it. Now, if you don't get a handle on the small things in your life, they start to grow and manifest and get to the point where this small thing now became a big thing that you now have to spend a lot of time and a lot of money to solve. And as an entrepreneur, those are two of the most valuable resources that you have, and we can't waste those. So I need you to be proactive in your mental health because, again, it's going to help influence how you do your personal business. Next, entrepreneurship, let's face it, it has a lot of ups and downs. Even right now, I'll admit, I'm on one of the down slopes of my business, and I know exactly what I need to do. Some things I got to test out, but I know exactly what I need to get back on the upside. But because I've gone to therapy and because I've read so many self-help books, I'm able to look at this situation I'm in now as being simply normal. It's something that everyone has gone through. And maybe you are listening to this, you have just gotten through that, or maybe you're in the midst of a tough time. And I want you to know that I'm right there with you. I'm in the thick of it right now as we speak. But because I know exactly what I need to do, I know exactly how normal situations like this is, I don't get all my panties in a bunch, as they say. I don't lose my head. I got to stay calm so that way I can put my best foot forward. I mean, let's face it. How well can you operate if you're panicking, you're high on anxiety, or let's say you're frustrated and feeling sad? There's a good chance you're not going to put your best foot forward. So, because none of that stuff is going to work, let's just focus. Let's lock in and do what we need to do. So, because these ups and downs are so natural and they happen, you need to have someone like myself to help you to ride out the wave. If you don't have someone in your corner that you can just speak to, someone that can give you a gem here, a gem there on how to manage all of these emotions, it can be tough and you may find yourself going under when these waves are coming. So find a therapist or even a coach that you can use literally as a life preserver, okay? And they'll help you get through those ups and downs as business. Next, entrepreneurship. Let's face it, it requires you to be authentic. And if you're hiding baggage from your past, if you feel like who you were 10 years ago is not who you are today, and you're not able to accept that form of you, that part of you, it may be hard for you to be all of you whenever you're in front of your audience. And what I've learned is that when you're authentic and you show your vulnerabilities, it actually pulls people closer to you. And we think it's actually the opposite because we think all these skeletons that's in our closet are things that people don't want to see. But those are the stories that people relate to the most. And I want you to know that you are good enough to take this next step in your business. Because if you don't do that, if you don't believe that, you're going to find yourself stuck. And stuck people normally are not happy, they're not fulfilling, and what's even worse of all, they're not serving people. So find a therapist that can help you take care of some of that baggage in your past so that we can move forward without all this weight that's holding you down. And there's a word that I love to use when it comes to this, and it's called self-acceptance. Whenever you tell your stories, it shows people, but honestly it shows you, that you actually move forward in your life and you're not so ashamed, or you're not, like, let's just say, hiding your past, if you will, having all this guilt, because you're willing to show it as if it's, a trophy, if you will. When you get to that point, when you can get on a mic, a camera, when you're in front of regular people and you're telling them where you've been, it shows that you made a lot of progress because you're no longer hiding it. And sometimes you need a therapist to help you to get through that, because in a therapy session, that's the place where no one's judging you. And for you, it may be the first place that you can go to actually feel like you're being heard and also you being all of you. So check out a therapist and have them invest in you so that way you can invest in yourself on a higher level. And the last point that I want to make is the fact that, guys, let's listen. And the last point that I want to make is a simple one, and we all know it. So we all know that, hey, you can get a heart transplant, you can even get a skin transplant, right? You can get all these different things done. But the one thing that you can't get a transplant for is your brain. And until Elon Musk comes up with that cure or that process or whatever it is, your brain is your number one asset. You get one of them, and you need to protect it with your life, because this is the number one thing that you're going to use to make money and to make impact. All right. So take care of your mind, because it's the one thing that you can't give. You can't change. You can't get a new one. It is yours, and it's yours forever. And the beautiful thing about minds is that you can develop them, okay? And that's why I love reading. I love going to courses or taking courses, going to seminars, because I know that information I'm going to get is going to change me, and as a result, it's going to change the lives of the people that I work with. So those are the reasons why you, as an entrepreneur, need to start to invest into your mental health. All right, guys, this is Coach Wells. Don't forget to comment and subscribe to this podcast so that way you can get more information like this. And if you comment, let me know what it is that you would love for me to talk about next, so that way I can give an episode just for you. All right, guys, later.